This day has come. The United States of America has chosen a new president. Exactly what the whole world was so afraid of has happened. Donald Trump has won. Many opponents believe that Trump puts his personal interests first, above all else, and they fear that his new presidency could lead to the isolation of the U.S. from the rest of the world. Replacing Biden with the young, upright, and absolutely not prone to falling off airplane stairs Kamala Harris didn't help the Democrats. Trump supporters are celebrating. And where are there the most Trumpists? That's right, in Russia. Exactly. So it turns out you really know how to do it. You just help out. Trump is coming back, and no one knows what will happen next. For now, the Republicans are emptying the wine cellars. And in the Kremlin, they've uncorked the last bottle of triple cologne. The mood among the Democrats, naturally, is gloomy. As they say, she just couldn't do it. She should have taken a sharp turn. He pulled in. These were some of the dirtiest elections in U.S. history. It feels like Kivalov was the one who organized them. In general, these elections are reminiscent of the presidential campaign in Ukraine in 2004. Grandpa Biden, just like Grandpa Kukma, isn't running for re-election. Instead, a pro-Russian candidate and a representative are fighting it out. A choice of differences and forces. These hands haven't stolen anything. There was an assassination attempt on a candidate in America. And in Ukraine, too. If Trump got away with just a piece of his ear, Yushchenko was less lucky. In both cases, the candidates threw mud at each other and called each other fascists. 5 days before the election, he used a garbage truck with his name on the side as a platform for his speeches. How do you like my garbage truck? This truck is in honor of Kamala and Joe Biden. And it turns out Trump is one. A fascist. A Russian fascist. And he praises Hitler. What interesting books. Yes, that's a fact. I believe that Trump is also professionally unfit, dangerous, and fascist. Back then and now, Russia is interfering in the elections in an unprecedented way. Moscow is pouring in billions to promote the candidate it wants. In Ukraine in 2004, it all ended with a revolution. Let's see what happens in the United States of America. God bless America. By the way, Trump has a lot in common with Yanukovych. Both have good relations with Putin. I had very good relations with Xi Jinping and very good ones with Putin. Neither of them knows how to say Christmas tree in Ukrainian. Today, it's already becoming a new tradition. Christmas tree. Who knows? Maybe Trump also has ostriches living somewhere on his ranch. Down the hallway? I don't know. The elections in the U.S. are of huge importance for the entire planet. Which direction the global locomotive will go and where it will pull everyone else is still an open question. More people in Ukraine and Mordor were following these elections than the Americans themselves. It was obvious who was rooting for whom. Especially against the backdrop of not-so-friendly statements and actions toward Ukraine from Trump's party. J.D. Vance is the guy who openly says he doesn't care about what's happening in Ukraine. He quite loudly declares that he's not interested in what's going on there. But we're supposed to provide them with financial aid, not fight, but support them financially. And people like J.D. Vance are more likely to support Russia. Trump promised to end the war in one day. How? Just give Putin all the Ukrainian territory seized. Naturally, Kiev wasn't thrilled with that campaign promise. It didn't go over well. The right accused Volodymyr Zelensky of allowing the Russian invasion to occur, said they would cut military support, and made grand promises. So, if I were president, I would end this war in one day, in 24 hours. Naturally, Moscow was practically squealing with delight at every move. If the states are in ruins, then of course we need Trump, so that both the states and Europe are affected. Of course, champagne. No one in the State Duma popped any bottles like they did during Trump's first coming. I want to congratulate all Americans who achieved Donald Trump's victory. And today they are rejoicing. Today is a big holiday in America. To congratulate all our citizens who also, in a way, rooted for Trump's victory. Later, expectations didn't match reality. Trump turned from just Trump into the President of the United States. Eccentric, but still a president. Moscow's expectations, to put it mildly, were not met. I put an end to Nord Stream 2. Haven't you heard about it? It was a pipeline that spanned all of Europe. I said, if we're protecting you through NATO, and you're paying them billions of dollars a month for energy, that's not right. I put an end to it. Boom. This time, Kremlin propaganda was more restrained and pretended not to care who won. No particular preferences. And in general, all Americans are enemies. Back in 2016, most of us were genuinely fond of Trump. We even had some remarkable people who painted triptychs. Trump, Lupin, and our supreme leader. So, what did we end up with? But no matter how much the orcs try to act like they don't care and are neutral, it's enough to look at how propaganda talks about Trump's opponent. Kamala Harris. Here, they don't mince words. Kamala Harris. A person who can be described in just 2 words. Malicious and frightening. Kaisliev went even further and outright said that Kamala's place as a woman is not in the president's office, but in the kitchen. It was obvious she was out of her element. Kamala, this piece isn't for her. But cooking is a different story. She should be hosting a cooking show. That's where she'd really shine. Classic. We're not rooting for anyone, but Trump is everything to us. Troops for Putin. Congratulations, Trump, on your election victory. But we want to say that even that wasn't quite right. Is it really that difficult compared to what is truly waiting for you in the future? Break time equals 0.5s/. Donald has said a lot of unpleasant things about Ukraine. But he's a well-known populist, so it's far from certain that Trump will actually do what he said. Maybe even the opposite. Trump might walk away. That's his superpower. Even if Moscow helped him get elected, that doesn't mean Ukraine suddenly won't get new weapons. Tomahawks. I can't. 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 I cannot. I can't. I can't. It's necessary to understand that a new president won't instantly change the course of the war or quickly resolve the conflict between Ukraine and Russia. This war will only truly end when the pale moth in the swamps passes on to the next world and the population undergoes complete denazification. All other ceasefires, agreements, concessions, capitulations will only whet the bloody appetite of the ghouls. The Russians are just bluffing. They won't actually do anything like that. They're just trying to bargain something for themselves. I mean, they're not crazy. Yeah, we're not crazy, of course, but... Russian propaganda loves to shout that Ukraine is a puppet of the US, that Kiev is completely dependent on decisions made in the White House. That's all. Of course, it's not decided with Zelensky, who is supposedly a puppet in the hands of the West, but directly with his masters. Why did they even let him out of the hospital? But it's Russia that's dependent on the White House. Even more so. Moscow literally can't take a single step without looking over its shoulder at Washington. Many experts are convinced that the brutal offensive on the front, where they are destroying the barefoot in industrial quantities, is aimed specifically at the US elections. The orcs don't count people or resources, just to manage to grab an extra piece of land before America comes to its senses after the presidential campaign. Even the Z channels are howling that Russia is burning through its last reserves, and soon there will be no one left not only to attack, but even to defend. We still don't have enough infantry. We're short on people in general, but especially infantry. And, by the way, speaking of the work of our military-industrial complex, we don't have enough. Shells. It's very hard to fight without a vision for the future, sorry, especially in the current situation, when the special military operation, which was supposed to be a brilliant, short campaign, in short, our plan didn't work out. And, as always, in the classroom. And the war has turned into a long, drawn-out, bloody routine. With, as of today, sorry, not so obvious results. That's why the Kremlin is praying that the new US president won't let Ukraine finish them off. Every day, thousands of shamans from all the swamps sacrifice camels and skunks so that the new US president won't allow Ukraine to use long-range weapons. So that he won't let hundreds of American pilots sign up for the Ukrainian Air Force. Putin doesn't let go of his briefcase because he's very afraid that the new US president will remember that he's the president of the greatest and most powerful country on earth. It's scary, really scary. We don't know what it is. If we knew what it was, we wouldn't know what it is. Moscow went to war. It destroyed the army and laid its economy under China. And we truly hope that, thanks to the new United States president, it will be left completely without its pants. President Donald Trump is indeed a significant new chapter in the ongoing history of our entire planet. A new and very important chapter in the history of Ukraine. No matter what Trump is like, the President of the United States of America will never work in Putin's interests. Because Russia, with its dwarf dictator, is like a flea compared to the US. And as we know, the sheriff doesn't care about the problems of fleas. This was a victory for the Americans. Let's make America great again.
I would like to remind you that this video is created for entertainment purposes and contains elements of satire and irony. All facts and events are presented in a hyperbolized or exaggerated form to convey a comedic or dramatic effect. Our goal is not to mislead, but to highlight humor. Please take it with a smile.